Welcome back to the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for small business owners and entrepreneurs, where we show you how to build a successful business and to have a life too. We're going to dive into another topic that helps us make more money in less time and to get off the treadmill so we can experience a life of significance. And now, your host and the author of the #1 best-selling business book, Making Money is Killing Your Business, Chuck Blakeman.
Hi, Chuck Blakeman here with you again today. We are going to talk about the 4 buying questions, not the selling questions. Nobody wants to be sold anything. Everybody wants to buy. How do we flip the script to get them to want to buy and we don't even have to sell? The principle behind the 4 buying questions is serve, don't sell. Nobody wants to be sold anything. Everybody wants to buy. So let's learn how to flip the script. How do we build trust so people want to buy even when we've never sold them anything? Well, principle number 1 is serve, don't sell. The second principle is meet them where they are, not where we want them to be. It's one of the things we violate most in small business sales is I want you to get excited about my product and how I make it and where I get the nails, and nobody cares. We need to meet them where they are. What do they want? What do they need? Let's meet them there. And the 4 buying questions are designed to help us do that instead of trying to get them to come over to our cool presentation in our slide deck. So first, serve, don't sell. Second, meet them where they are, not where you want them to be. And the third principle, seek to understand, not to be understood. That's Stephen Covey's, one of his 7 habits of highly effective people. Everybody understands in our heads logically that people will want to understand us once we understand them. The 4 buying questions are built specifically to help them see that we want to understand them first, and then they'll want to understand us and our product. So those are the 3 principles behind the 4 buying questions. Serve, don't sell, meet them where they are, not where you want them to be, and seek to understand, not to be understood. Let's quickly go through the mechanics of a buying conversation. I would suggest that you always do coffee, not lunch, unless you know that you really want to be there for an extended period of time. Lunches can be an hour and a half easily, can be also expensive. If you invited them, you probably should pay for their lunch. I like coffee. I can get a 45-minute to an hour-long coffee with somebody, and that will work out well for both of us. And then I try and confirm appointments the week before and then the night before or in the morning if it's a late afternoon appointment. Before we go through the 4 buying questions, I would like to give you very quickly a reminder of the walking in commitments that we talked about in the last podcast. If you haven't seen that podcast or heard it, look for the 4 walking in commitments. Those commitments, very briefly, those commitments are intended to get our head straight and get us in the right place as we walk into an appointment. And those 4 commitments are: I intend to serve them, seeking their long-term and highest best interest. I intend to serve, not sell. Second, I will not talk about my business unless I'm asked. You make a lot more money doing that. Listen to that podcast. Third, I intend to make money from this meeting, not necessarily in this meeting. And it could be 6 months from now. Look at the podcast and we'll show you how. And fourth, I intend to make an offer. Don't go into any meeting without that mindset that you're going to make some kind of offer. And again, it may not have anything to do with what you are selling. Okay, so those are the 4 walking in commitments. We get our head right. We get our minds where they should be. Let's flip the script and use the 4 buying questions to do that. We want them to kind of chase us and want to buy. Hey, what have you got? I'm interested in that. Versus, let me take you through my slide deck. Or, hey, stop me when you see something you like. One of those kinds of things. It's powerful stuff when we flip the script. We had a wealth manager go through our 10-week business development training course we call Fast Track. And at the time, he had 2,200 clients and was making about $250,000 a year. And he used the 4 buying questions principally to help him flip the script and get people to where they wanted to buy. He didn't have to sell. And it became the basis for a really strong foundation of essentially reducing his clients from 2,200 to less than 20. And he ended up making 4 times the take-home income from 20 clients. And he said that the 4 buying questions was the best thing he got out of Fast Track. It's different for other people, but this could be the best thing that has happened to your business development, is to learn how to flip the script to get people to want to buy so that you never have to sell again. Okay, as we get into this, this is important for us as in a mindset. Who's in control, the asker or the talker? I used to think it was the talker. I'm just going to talk because I can dominate the room. That's not the way it works. The person in control is the person asking questions. That's another reason we want to ask questions instead of go in and just start talking about how great we are, how great our products are, and running through our slide deck. We have no idea who they are, what they want, what they need. Let's ask 4 simple questions and figure this all out. So we're going to be in charge because we're asking and they're talking. And sometimes you might experience it as you get in line or as you sit down and have a cup of coffee or get to their office, they might immediately want to start chit-chatting. And a great way to make sure that you're in control as the asker is as soon as you walk in, say things like, hey, I'm excited to hear about your business. And how are the kids? How's the dog? Whatever. And so you can kind of do the small talk. And then when they want to respond to that, you can do 5 minutes of small talk. But then if they're really astute, they might jump right in and say, hey, tell me about your product or tell me about what you know. And you get to say, no, remember, I asked you first. I said, I'm excited about hearing about your business. So I have a question and then we'll get to mine. I'll respond as well. Because otherwise you can really end up working from their agenda and not getting to where you can build a relationship of trust because they just assume you're there to sell them something. So the first buying question has to do about the past. The second buying question will have to do about their future. The third buying question will have to do about the present. And the fourth one is basically what is their favorite customer, their customer profile. So past, then future, then present, then customer profile. Let's break those down. The first question, something about their past. If it's business to business and they're an owner of a business, you might say, so how'd you get into your business? What motivated you or how'd you get into it? It's a question they may not have answered for themselves in a long time. They might have forgotten why. They might have lost some of the passion. It will benefit them to ask this question. Remember, the 4 buying questions are not about what you can get from them. It's about serving them. And it will serve them to remind them, yeah, why did I get into this business? If it's business to consumer, you'll have to come up with another past question. For instance, a realtor might ask a potential buyer, what was the favorite place you ever lived? What were the attributes of that place? That's a past question. And again, it gets them thinking, yeah, what was that? And it serves them to talk about that stuff. You will benefit because they're sharing these things, but it's not the reason you're doing the 4 buying questions. Don't do this so that you can benefit. Do it so they can benefit, and you will too. Zig Ziglar said it many times. If you help other people get to their goals, you'll get to yours. So get them to the goal of asking themselves, yeah, why did I get into this business? Or what was my favorite house? Or whatever the question you come up with on the past. And if you can't come up with one, email us, grow@cranksetgroup.com. Say, hey, I'm in this industry and I don't know what my past, future, present questions are. Can't figure it out. We'd love to help you because we want to know those as well. We've got them for just about every industry. Okay, so that's the past. How did you get into business? Or what was your favorite place you ever lived? Or maybe did you ever have a product or service like mine before? What was it like? Good past questions. This serves them and you get served as a result, but it's not the objective. Question number 2 is about the future. So if this is what got you into business, Mr. Business Owner and Ms. Business Owner, then where is it all taking you? What do you want out of this? What's your end goal 3, 5, 10 years from now? What is the business going to do for you? Again, this is a question people rarely ask themselves. They just assume I'm going to grow a business until I make a bucket load of money and then I'll sell it and somehow I'll be happy. It doesn't work that way. And it might be good for them to pause for 30 seconds and say, wow, I've been in this business for 7 years. I really don't know what I want out of it. Or I articulated that to myself 2 years ago or 7 years ago, and I haven't thought about it since. Why did I get into business? What am I going to personally get out of this? And a lot of times what you'll hear people say is they'll start talking about what their business will get out of it. Well, I'm going to grow my business from 2 million or 500,000 to 2 million, and we're going to have a X% market share in my local market. You know, that's what your business will get out of it. I've heard of a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people who had very successful businesses who had never written themselves into the script as to what they will get out of the business. So I'll stop people. I won't share that up front. I won't say, now I want you to tell me what you're going to get versus what the business will give you. I kind of want to see where their head is on this. I'll just say, what do you personally want to get out of this 3, 5, 10 years from now? Or I might even just say, where is this all taking you? And we'll see how they answer. And if they start talking about what their business will benefit, I'll interrupt them and say, I'm sorry, I apologize. What I really meant was, what will you get out of this? That serves them because it helps them see, wow, my head is in what my business will get out of this. I just automatically went to how great my business will be. I got to get this figured out. What do I want out of this? And if it's a consumer thing, realtor, what's your dream house look like? What's your dream house? What's your dream location look like in the future? Or if it's just a product or service generically, what would be the best outcome you could want from this kind of product or this kind of service? That's the future question. And again, this is posed so that they benefit. People rarely ask themselves these kinds of where is it all going questions. And without a vision, the people perish. There's all kinds of sayings around this. Clarity brings power. Clarity first brings hope, and hope allows us to take a risk to actually maybe buy from you. So get them to find clarity on where are they coming from and where are they going. And as you're asking these questions, don't just pose this like an inquisition. That would just be kind of fake and uncomfortable. You should know the answer to these questions yourself. And when you're done asking them, how'd you get into business? Tell them why you got in business. Have 2 or 3 quick sentences so that this doesn't feel like an inquisition. If they're really savvy, they might ask you, well, how'd you get into business? But if they don't, ask them that and tell them what your best house was you lived in. Join the conversation, even if they're not asking you to. So that's the past. How'd you get into the business? The future, where's it all taking you? And then the present. Well, if that's where you want to end up 3, 5, 10 years from now, personally, what's the one thing you can do right now to help you get there? What's the one thing that might be standing in your way to help you get there? And I'll be very specific on that. And I might say things like, there's probably 7 things standing in your way if your business is like mine, just standing in your way to getting till tomorrow. I'm thinking, what is it? What comes to mind that will help you? The one thing that could help you get where you want to go 3, 5, 10 years from now. And again, that serves them because rarely do we think that way. We're just knocking down straw men and reacting to the world around us. I got 12 things on my plate. Well, what's the one thing? If you accomplish that, it would help you get where you want to go 3, 5, 10 years from now. Might not even be on your plate, and it should be. Or if you're buying a house, somebody's buying a house from you, what do you need right now to get to that dream house? What's the one thing standing in your way? A lot of them will say money, might be, I can't find the right location, but you want them to dream about their future and identify what is it that's standing in their way right now. If it's a product or service, you might ask what would stand in your way to getting the result from this product or this service. What's the one thing you could see being an obstacle to actually getting what you want out of what we might be offering? So that's the past, the future, and the present, all designed to help you serve them and help you learn to listen with what we call tier 3 listening, which will be another podcast. But it allows you to just listen and find out what they actually want and what they actually need versus what you think they want or what you think they need. You ask these 3 questions alone, you don't even get to the 4th one. And it likely will take you from a 45-minute dog and pony show, stop me when you see something you like on my slide deck, might take you from that to a 6-minute, let me show you these 2 slides, because what I heard was, this is where you are, this is where you want to end up, and this is the one thing in your way. And here's how I think what we're offering you could help you get there in some small way or in some very big way. Instead of blathering on about what we think might work for them and hoping that something we say would actually hit them, what if we found out? And then we could take our 45 minutes worth of slides and knock it down to 5 or 10 minutes and go from there. If you get to question number 4, it would be what I would call a lumberjack question, where I can be someone who goes to the forest and cuts down trees and finds clients in the world out there for you. It would be a way for me to help you understand that I actually want to help you grow your business, but it's a customer profile thing. What's your favorite customer or client look like? Or if it's a realtor selling to a buyer, do you have a favorite town or neighborhood right now? And what's the appeal? Or in this case, we're talking about a lot of products and services. Do you know someone else who's enjoying benefits from something similar to what you're working with? And you get to know how you can actually serve these people by getting their customer profile. That allows you to, at least in this meeting, say, hey, I know someone who is your favorite customer profile. Or, hey, I know some people who live in this town over here, that your favorite neighborhood, and I'm going to call them and see if they're interested in selling. Again, it's a way to serve them, and you will automatically get things that will help you serve them as well. So that's the 4 buying questions: past, future, present, and their customer profile. And remember that the objective is to understand them and to learn what they need, to feel what they're feeling, not to get through all 4 questions. There's been plenty of times where I've gotten through 2 of the questions or 3 of the questions, And we end up talking about my business and their business, and we end up doing some kind of arrangement or deal, and we never get to the fourth question. There will also be some times where you go through these 4 questions, and it is kind of like an inquisition, even though you're answering and saying, yeah, this is why I got into business, and this is where I want to end up, and this is the one thing standing my way. And they never ask you a question. Well, if you look at the 4 walking in commitments from our last podcast, one of them is don't talk about your business unless you're asked. I commit to not talking about my business unless I'm asked. And this will come up at times, pretty rarely, but it has come up where I spent 45 minutes or an hour having a cup of coffee with someone, went through these questions, found out what they might need, but I'm not talking about my business because they didn't ask. And it's not that they have to say, please show me your presentation, but they might ask a question like, hey, why did you get into business? Or, hey, we've been talking about me for a while, because that happens. Hey, we've been talking about me. And sensitive people will say, let's find out. I want to find out about you and or your business. Now I have, from my perspective, permission to begin to talk about how I can actually meet their need. If that doesn't happen, I'm not going to talk. So I would ask you to maybe consider the same commitment. Don't talk about your business unless you're asked. If you're in a business meeting with somebody for an hour and you ask them genuinely interested questions and they never reciprocate, is that the person that you really want to do business with? Now, maybe you're sensing that this isn't about them just being self-centered. They've got a lot on their minds. They're distracted. So, you can't just judge people. But at times it's like, they're not interested in my product. They didn't ask. I'll move on. And we can make some kind of offer that doesn't have anything to do with our product. Like, let's offer them one of the people we think of as our competitors. Maybe they'll click. The objective here is to serve and help them see that you are interested in them as human beings before you want them to be interested in your product or sale. And when you do that, more often than not, people then begin to warm up and say, hey, this person actually cares about me. My guard is down because I'm feeling safe. I'm feeling like they're not here to try and hawk their wares and to stab me with their business card. I'm actually interested in what this person might have to offer because I know they're interested in me. So let's flip the script. Let's figure out how to serve, not sell, and let's get people to where they want to buy so that we don't ever have to sell again. Thanks.
That wraps up another episode of the Get Off the Treadmill podcast. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and hit the like button to ensure you are receiving the latest tools you need to grow your business and to get off the treadmill. If you want more information on the 3 to 5 Club, the Crankset Group, or to book Chuck as a business advisor, speaker, or workshop leader, you can contact us at grow, GROW, @cranksetgroup.com. Until next time, have a great week.